Hi, this is Paul Hoyt, CEO of Ascending Harvest, here with my best buddy, business partner, resident inventor genius, actor, comedian, and Renaissance man, Shane McKenna. We're here to talk to you a little bit about our crowdfunding campaign and the status of the company. And today, we're real excited to talk about the opportunity that you have, that we have, to end world hunger. You know, that's kind of a bold, audacious claim, and we're going to get to that here in just a second after I let Shane say hello. How you doing, Shane?
I am doing great, but as we have already established, I do not get called pretty often enough.
You know, I didn't actually say that live. I said that before we went live. So
I know. I'm just making you uncomfortable by bringing it up.
You know, do I look uncomfortable? Because I
No,
don't
you
feel
don't.
very uncomfortable.
You don't.
So, by the way, the is not showing up very well on the screen today. It's just not, for whatever reason, we're maybe having a little problem with our platform or whatever. So if there we are. It's not showing up very well. Hang on, now it is. Now it is. So I'm excited that we are ready to go. First, before we jump into that, our subject matter of the day, I want to talk a little bit about the status of the crowdfunding campaign. We're up to nearly $11,400 with like 145 or so contributors. So thank you very much, whether you've given $1 or $5 or 10 or so much more. We really do appreciate your participation in our crowdfunding project. So please, if you haven't done so already, go to ascendingharvest.com and give us your name and email address, or click on the green Donate Now button that's there and give us a buck. Listen to the video that we put together about the crowdfunding campaign. Read why we are doing what we are doing and what we are doing, and slip us a buck or 5 or 10. You get a little bit of a reward when you do that. And help us meet our goal of $27,500, which we will use to pursue much larger grants from governmental aid organizations and NGOs, non-government organizations, which are charitable organizations, foundations, etc. So we'd love for you to participate and get on our mailing list so we can keep you updated on the status of the project. We continue to make a little progress day by day. If you don't know so already, we have extended the campaign 30 days, and we do have a benefactor who will essentially triple whatever donation you put in. So if you put in $5, they're going to put in 15. If you put in 10, they're going to put in 30. And so whatever you put in gets multiplied by 4 into our coffers, and we're very, very excited about that. So jump in, help us out, slip us a buck or 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 40, buy a system for a family in need, and join the team that has the opportunity to end world hunger, which I think was a very nice segue into what we are going to talk about today, which is this audacious, bold, incredible claim that we are putting out to the world that we have the opportunity to end world hunger. How can that be, Shane? How can we possibly even think of that?
Yeah, before I address that, let me just say hi to Kai and Derek.
Oh, good.
Kai said hello, so thank you for joining us, Kai. And Derek, as always, we love to see you. Derek and I go back many years. Derek has helped me with many projects, and he's just an absolute stand-up guy. If you need photography or other professional services, Derek is a guy to see. Just get in touch with me, and I'll get you in touch with him. So how can we claim to end world hunger? That is an incredibly audacious claim, and as you mentioned before we came on the air, you know, that has been an issue that has always been present in the history of the world.
Yeah.
In the history of the world, there's somebody going hungry. And the thing is it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm going to say something that's going to really sting right now, but it's the truth. And, you know, sometimes the truth hurts. The reason that hunger persists is that there is not a profit incentive to end it. It comes down to, it's just that simple. There has not been a profit incentive to end it. So why is Ascending Harvest different? Ascending Harvest is different because we are not approaching large-scale community projects that require this continuous influx of training and materials and resources and money to continue to flow into these projects to make them happen. Our project only depends on working with a charitable organization and delivering those systems. Maybe it's one system, maybe it's 5 systems, maybe it's a dozen systems, to an individual who's motivated to change their life, and we empower that individual. And then that individual lifts themselves out of poverty. And I want to repeat something that was said just a few days ago that came from a gentleman that I met in a meeting. He came from Jamaica before there was a lot of tourist travel to Jamaica, and there was no aid to Jamaica. And Jamaicans were extremely poor, similar to many of the areas of Africa and refugee camps that we're going to be serving. And he said something that was validating to the research that I've done over the years in developing this, not only the technology, but how we're going to implement that technology. And what he said is he came from a family that had the ability to almost grow all of the food that they needed to survive. And that being in that category of almost being able to sustain themselves with their own food put them right on the cusp of being considered wealthy in their economic environment. And he said those people that not only produced enough for their family, but produced enough to distribute and to trade and barter and sell to other families were the ones who were actually considered wealthy in that economic paradigm. So what we're talking about, when we're talking about Ascending Harvest can feed the world, we are going to find those individuals through our charitable partners who are going to be the key in their community, who are going to grasp onto this technology, who are going to leverage it to their best benefit, and they're going to lift themselves out of poverty. And in the process, they're going to set the example and the pace and the tone for their entire community, and they're going to elevate their entire community as more and more people adopt this technology. And wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to look at a community 10, 15, 20 years after we start introducing this technology and see that community thriving and all of the other things that spring out of that abundance? See the artists emerge, the thinkers emerge, the leaders emerge, the healers emerge, and that community lifts itself out of its situation and becomes a thriving, viable community because they got that seed, they got that anchor, they got that empowering technology that is Ascending Harvest and other technologies. Let's empower these communities and give them a tool that they lift themselves out of their circumstance.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. You know, we do have the opportunity to lift people up out of survival mode. If you're familiar at all with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, the survival mode, enough food to eat and water to drink and a shelter for safety is right at the bottom of the pyramid, but it is of utmost concern to every human being. When we lift people up out of that, we give them an opportunity to improve their brain function. We give them an opportunity to improve education, to think their way out of the problems and challenges. We give them hope. We give them optimism, maybe even a little feistiness. We let them, you know, step into their courage and step into their power that lifts them up entirely. So it's not just about giving them food. It's about feeding their souls. It's about feeding their brains. It's about giving them, you know, confidence and allowing them to step into emotional power after they've stepped into greater physical power. So we're very excited for the opportunity to do that. The reason it's never been done before, as Shane says, because there's never been a system like ours before. There's never been human-powered hydroponics that allows people to grow their own food. Anyone, anywhere to grow their own food. All they need is a little sunshine, a little bit of water, a little air, some organic materials, and one of our systems, and they can start to grow their own food. With enough of these systems in the marketplace, enough of them in the world, that we think that we can end world hunger. I've been, of course, running around the numbers on that because I'm kind of a numbers guy. If everybody in the world needs, 4 pounds of food a day, and our systems produce a pound of food a day or maybe a little less each, 4 systems for everybody, and that would be, I would say, people in their maturity. Children don't require that much. Older folks don't require that much. That could give everybody all of the food that they needed, and the money that they spent on food and the time they spent scratching for their next meal can be used for other things that can really lift them up out of poverty. So we're excited about that, and we mean it. $25 billion, $50 billion, $100 billion, could absolutely end world hunger. And when it ends world hunger, it will most likely end world poverty at the same time.
Yeah, it really is. People are disempowered. People who are in poverty do not have the power, and they don't have the nutrients to turn their brain on so that they can think out of solutions. One of the things that's come out of the data as countries develop, there's several things that come out. Number one, their IQ scores increase dramatically. In some cases, as much as 20 points, IQ points, as the mean average of a area can increase. And if you think about that, 20%, 20 points, IQ points increase is massive. That is a massive change. That is a massive ability to solve problems. So just nutrition alone can lift that average. Then you have, as you said, when they are not preoccupied with, how am I going to get through the day? When they already have that security sitting right there, it's right there. They've been nurturing it, and there it is. There's their security. Now they can turn their attention and their increased brain power to solving other issues, to creating viable opportunities for themselves and therefore for their community. And it's an entire shift. We have got to get away from the idea that these food lines are the solution. They're not. They are a sustaining solution, but they're not an empowering solution. We need to empower people with our technology and with other technologies, and there's some great ones out there. Let's get behind those efforts that empower people and really, once and for all, solve this issue of hunger in the world.
I love that. Shane, I haven't heard you say that before. Every once in a while you come up with a real gem, and I think that's one of them. That, current methods of helping people with their nutritional needs are sustaining them instead of empowering them. And we have an empowering solution that is a hand up and not a handout. And that's why we're so passionate about this. Gosh, I think we could go on for a long, long time talking about this, but I think that as we go on, it actually detracts from the message. I think that the message is really very simple, that there's never been systems like this before. There's never been technology available like this before, that with sufficient quantities of these in the marketplace, in the hands of the families who need them the most, that we can, in fact, end world hunger and probably end poverty at the same time. All it takes is a willpower of the entire world, of our society, to make that happen. You've got an opportunity to be a part of that team. Please join us here at Ascending Harvest, and let's get this thing rolling. Let's get this train out of the station and rolling down the tracks at 100 miles an hour, or like they do in foreign countries, and soon in California, 200 miles an hour.
Well, when you think about the numbers that we're talking about here, billions, when you're talking about 1 billion hungry people, that's a really daunting number. But when you think about the number of systems that would really make an impact in the communities that these billion people exist in, how many systems that would take. And then you take the cost of what would be involved in implementing those systems. Literally, we're talking less than $1 per year of the individuals who have that disposable dollar. We're really, if you spread that out over the human community, the amount of energy that would have to come out of the highest echelons of the ladder, the highest rungs of the ladder, to solve the problem of the bottom rungs of the ladder is so small. And the truth is that's never been possible with handout charity. Handout charity requires everybody to just keep giving and giving and giving and giving. We're talking about hand-up opportunity, where that initial investment, that little small investment from those of us at the top of the ladder, and just pass that down a few rungs, and we empower and allow those at the bottom of the ladder to climb the ladder up to where we're at.
Awesome. So Shane, let's make this a short one today.
Okay, let's do it.
Because I think the message is really short and sweet. And for those of you who haven't got their fill of Shane and I, listen to it again. You know? And of course, we have lots and lots of other blogs, and Zoomcasts available on our website at ascendingharvest.com/blog. You can learn a lot more about the science, the technology, the intellectual property, the way that plants work, the way that our system works, all kinds of things to help you come to where we are with our perspective and our optimism that we can, in fact, end world hunger, putting these systems out in sufficient quantity. And today we're going to give one of these systems away to somebody who has given us their email address by either signing up on our website or contributing to the crowdfunding campaign, because we take all of those email addresses every day and we put them into a big hopper, and they're eligible for a prize drawing to win their own human-powered hydroponic system. The way we do that is Shane gives me a number between 1 and 10,000. I plug it into my spreadsheet, and we announce the winner. Shane, what's the number for today?
It's 1,274, 1274.
The person with the random number closest to 1,274 is Rebecca Yates. Congratulations, Rebecca. You're the winner of a human-powered hydroponic system. We'll give one to you when they get out of mass manufacturing, now anticipated in about 6 months. And at that time, you'll also have the opportunity to donate your system to a family in need in your name. So congratulations, Rebecca Yates. Easy for me to say. If you'd like the opportunity to put your name in the hat as well, then by all means, go to ascendingharvest.com, sign up, click on the green button, go to our Indiegogo campaign, and give us $1 or $5 or 10 or 20. We had a couple of people give us a lot more than that, and maybe you're one of those who's inspired by today's Zoomcast and the opportunity that you have to be a part of the team that ended world hunger. We'd love to see you do that. That kind of does it for me today, Shane. Why don't we let you take her out and say goodbye to the folks?
Hey, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your contribution so far, and we just ask that you would share our campaign and encourage others to help raise people up out of hunger and poverty. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye-bye.